Alex Ovechkin drops the curtain on the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Your Locked On Capitals, your daily podcast on the Washington Capitals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ho, 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 and Merry Christmas as Alex Ovechkin ends his 14-game goalless drought. Welcome into this edition of Locked On Capitals. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. As always, this podcast is free and available on all the major platforms, including the SiriusXM app and on YouTube. And I want to thank you for making this your first listen each and every day. My name is Dan Holme. You can find me on Twitter. It's at DanCaps218. You can find the show on Twitter. It's at Locked On Caps. And the best way that you can help grow the show is to subscribe to Locked On Capitals on YouTube and comment anything down below. I would love to talk Capitals hockey with you one-on-one, and we can do that on subtext. Just check the show description for more details. Today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Download the Sleeper app and use promo code LOCKEDONNHL to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for more details. So in this edition of Locked On Capitals, it's over as Alex Ovechkin breaks his 14-game goalless drought by dropping the curtain in OT on the Columbus Blue Jackets. We will talk about that in this show. A little bit later, we will talk about the shenanigans going on between Tom Wilson and Elvis Merzlikins, primarily on Merzlikins, as Tom Wilson was pretty reserved. I respect that a whole lot in him. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Also, Anthony Mantha is rolling. What's behind his success? And then Lindgren's play was huge in the Capitals win tonight. But just to get it going here, it's over. Alex Ovechkin is off the schneid as he found the back of the net in the most impactful way. I know that's not a word, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. The most impactful way possible by finding the back of the net in OT, getting him off the schneid, breaking that goalless drought. If that did not give you warm and fuzzy feelings, if the hair didn't stand up on your arm or on the back of your neck, I don't know what will, because this is something that has been haunting and following Alex Ovechkin for the longest time. Anytime I talk to someone about the Capitals, they say, what's going on with Alex Ovechkin? If I'm doing another podcast talking to someone, what's going on with Alex Ovechkin? And, Alex Ovechkin has heard that from a lot of different people. And there was something different about Alex Ovechkin tonight. Of course, he scored a goal. That was different, of course. But he seems to be playing the puck with a lot more confidence. He was passing the puck with more confidence. He was shooting the puck with more confidence. Is this the hurdle that everyone talked about? All he has to do is get past this hurdle, and then it'll all be gravy. Now, I don't want to get ahead of myself and say that he is going to go on a tear and score like 20 goals or something like that, but it steps in the right direction, and I'm pretty pumped for the grade 8 as he found a way to get it done in the most convincing fashion. Ovi's 14-game goalless drought is over. He gets the OT winner. It was Ovi's 828th. Ovi was a man on a mission in this game with 13 attempts, just lighting it up out there. 13 attempts and 7 shots on goal. This was an Alex Ovechkin that was super engaged, and I think that he's kind of figuring it out. I think that much in the same way that Anthony Mantha is doing really well because he's confident. And where does that confidence come from? Scoring goals, playing really well. That even though Alex Ovechkin is one of the greatest to ever do it, I think he was struggling with his confidence because he was struggling at finding the back of the net. Now that has kind of broke through and he got a goal on the biggest possible way in overtime to end the game, I think that this could be a change for Alex Ovechkin, and I would look for bigger and better things to come. 67 more now to pass Wayne Gretzky's all-time record So just a really, really great night for the grade eight. Alex Ovechkin dialed in. And, you could have said that that goal that Anthony Mantha tipped in, that could have potentially been Ovechkin's goal. I guess, you could say that if Mantha didn't tip it, then maybe it wouldn't have gone in, but he was getting all sorts of chances, getting all sorts of opportunities. And it was one of those great feelings because right before that, there was the penalty that was called. And I'll talk about this later between Merzlikins and Tom Wilson. And Merzlikins got the penalty. And that led to the Alex Ovechkin goal as the Caps were on the PP. And, it was a great moment, a real you know what to your opponent. After you try picking a fight with Tom Wilson, Alex Ovechkin, the captain of your Capitals, just slams it home to the back of the net. That is the positive momentum that Capitals fans we were looking for as we are headed into this, Christmas break coming here soon. I know that they have the Lightning coming up here, but 3 wins in a row. That is a big deal for the Capitals as this is a team that has struggled. And just a really great moment, all things considered, taking a look at the standings as I record this at 9:32 local. The Capitals are in 5th place in the Metro, so they have some work to do. But actually, if you take a look at it, the Capitals with 38 points, the Hurricanes 38 points, and the Islanders 39, Flyers 39. It is all within grasp. If you take a look at this, there's not this big disparity here. You take a look at the very top of the Metropolitan Division, the Rangers have 45 points. So there is a bit of a gap there, but you take a look at it, you go either way. So the Capitals in 5th place with 38 points. Underneath of them, the Devils with 34 points. This is all coming together at the perfect time, and they have a lot to thank for Alex Ovechkin leading by example, getting it done as he gets the GWG tonight. And just a really great thing, and I was watching the game and I wanted to, before I just jumped in and did this podcast, I wanted to watch all the post-game interviews. Normally, I'm just scurrying, getting all my notes together, looking at all kinds of stats, those kind of things. But I wanted to soak in this moment. And it's funny because it was just a goal for Alex Ovechkin. He scored quite a few of them, but it was this drought that kind of followed him around for the longest period of time. I wanted to soak it in, and I wanted to see, the interview between Al Koken and Alex Ovechkin. And Alex Ovechkin is a guy that likes to play it cool. He's not like a young giddy player in the league that's smiling from ear to ear. He's just kind of, I'm not going to let my feelings show that much, but you could tell inside of him, he was just elated. Ovi, you don't need to tell everybody how excited you are. I'm going to tell all the Capitals fans right now. Inside, he was like, yeah. But on the outside, he was like, yeah, good game, good game. But that's the Alex Ovechkin that we know. And it was just a great game, all things considered. I wish, if there's one thing that I could change, of course, I wish that it didn't have to go to overtime, right? I wish that it could have ended in regulation as the night before the game ended in overtime as well with Dylan Strome. So what a fitting way to end this couple games here before the Christmas break in just a convincing fashion. Dylan Strome last night, Alex Ovechkin tonight, a punctuation that the Capitals are back. They got their captain scoring goals. The power play is humming along. It is gravy going forward for this team. I would say that look out, rest of the Metro Division. I think this team is going to prove a lot of people wrong, and I look forward to it. So in the game, Tom Wilson and Elvis Merzlikins were mixing it up. Who was in the right and who was in the wrong? I'll talk about that coming up. A new NHL season brings all sorts of possibilities. Dylan Strome could score 50 goals. The Capitals could hoist the Stanley Cup, and you could win big by playing daily fantasy hockey on Sleeper, the official daily fantasy app of the Locked On NHL Network. Sleeper is our #1 choice for daily fantasy sports and especially daily fantasy hockey because with Sleeper, you can win 100 times your cash in daily fantasy hockey contests. And let me tell you something, guys. I was not the kind of guy that was that into fantasy sports or even fantasy hockey until I found Sleeper, and now I love it. To win a 100 times bet on Sleeper, you need to correctly predict the outcome of 8 player stats. You heard me, Capitals fans. You can win 100 times your money playing daily fantasy hockey with Sleeper. So start paying attention and nail your picks so you can start winning big. Use promo code LOCKEDONNHL and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. That's code LOCKEDONNHL. See Sleeper's terms of use for details and locational availability. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. All right, welcome back into this edition of Locked On Capitals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So in this game, there was all sorts of shenanigans, a melee in front of the net, in front of the Columbus Blue Jackets net with Elvis Merzlikins in the net and Tom Wilson being kind of a pest posting up in front of the net. And it was getting to Merzlikins. He got away with one jab where he was in front of the net, just a cheap shot, a slash to Tom Wilson, and nothing was done about that. Now, what is one of the things that Tom Wilson would have normally done in a previous years? He would have destroyed Elvis Merzlikins, but he didn't do it. He showed restraint. And why did he do that? Because he knew that if he retaliated in any sort of way, that it would have been a penalty. And the Columbus Blue Jackets would have been on the PP, and game could have ended a whole lot different if Tom Wilson did not show the restraint that he did. And hat goes off to him. Part of me, the guy part of me, wishes he would have just demolished Elvis Merzlikins. You want to step up to this? You want to step up to me? Do you know who I am? Have you seen me on hockeyfights.com? Do you know what I'm capable of? But he didn't do that. And this is the new mature Tom Wilson, not the kind of guy that just drops the glove when someone else wants you to do, when they want you to do it. And one of the things that I saw on the Mike Vogel podcast, he had an interview with Tom Wilson, and he said, as a young guy, I realized I spent a lot of time in the penalty box because other guys wanted to fight me. I didn't really want to fight them, but I felt like I needed to, like it was my job. And I'm paraphrasing here. And then what I realized is I was spending a lot of time in the penalty box when I could have been scoring goals. Why did I let this fourth line AHLer call up? Why did I let this AHL player that's looking to make a name for himself, why did I let him bait me into a fight and spend so much time in the penalty box? And then that team went on and scored a goal. Well, that is very wise thinking, a very mature Tom Wilson that's getting older and kind of seeing the lay of the land. He has kind of looked at Alex Ovechkin and saw how that he, in his younger day, was the kind of guy that would drop the gloves at a moment's notice. Take a look what happened when Svechnikov tried to step up to Alex Ovechkin, knocked out, face in the ice, call him out, help, help, heal, we need help. Those guys don't need to prove themselves anymore. We know that Alex Ovechkin could demolish 9 out of 10 guys in the NHL. We know that Tom Wilson could demolish 9.9 out of 10 players in the National Hockey League. They don't need to prove it to anybody. And it was a tactful approach. And then you take a look at what happened. Is that Tom Wilson was pushed into the net by a Columbus Blue Jackets player, but that bad blood was still boiling over in Elvis Merzlikins, and he wanted revenge. But you know what they say, mess around and find out. I changed a couple words there. I changed a word there. What would have happened if Tom Wilson would have unleashed the fury that burns inside of him? It would have been, medics, come out here. He's face down in the ice, bleeding all over the place. But Tom Wilson showed restraint. And subsequently, the Capitals went on and won one heck of a game, a true morale boost as we head into this Christmas break. We got one more game, and then it is going to be Players going back with their families, kind of refocusing and getting ready for what's, after the break here. But the Capitals have a positive momentum snowball that's rolling and getting bigger and bigger. You got Anthony Mantha engaged. You got Alex Ovechkin off the schneid. You got John Carlson playing a huge role. You got two netminders that I don't know which one's better, but it seems like it's Charlie Lindgren right now. Things are looking up. So let's kind of take a look down a little bit further than that. We got Max Pacioretty coming. 6 times in his career, he has scored 30 goals. After this freeze here, after Christmas, they are going to announce the formal signing of Ethan Bear, a two-way shutdown defenseman that is only going to bolster the Capitals' blue line. There is a lot to be pumped about being a Capitals fan right now. And, taking a look at it, Tom, again, he could have just done what comes intrinsic to him. His very being is like, I am going to demolish you, but he didn't do it. And why didn't he do it? Because he knew that it would be the other way around. When he got laid out in that net, he could have just lit him on fire. But guess what? Then the Columbus Blue Jackets would have gone on the power play, and the outcome of the game could have been very different. We wouldn't be talking about how Alex Ovechkin broke his goalless drought. So it's about perspective, and hat goes off to Tom Wilson for being mature. I know it's a tough thing to keep things inside. I myself, as a younger guy, acted emotionally. I got into fights when I was in high school. I got in trouble for doing that kind of thing, and even as an adult, sometimes I have a hard time biting my tongue, but that's a mature approach. And a true mature adult, that is how they handle things. A true, wise NHL player, they've been there before. They've done that. They realize I don't need to play your game, Elvis Merzlikins, on your deplorable Columbus Blue Jackets team that's in the cellar of the Metro. Who cares, Bill? So he did the right thing. And, Tom Wilson is actually won all of that. Merzlikins, before that, I think that he probably thought to himself, I'm pretty tough. That Tom Wilson has a reputation around the league as being a tough guy. But look at me. He was scared like a little puppy dog. And that is just kind of the delusional thinking of a lot of men and hockey players. But we know, Capitals fans, we know what Tom Wilson would have done if he really wanted to. But all things considered, I like this game. It was a big morale boost for the team, for the fans, to get people re-engaged, to love this team. Because there was a lot not to love earlier this season. This team was playing pretty poor. And I don't want to say it's an about face and they're going to be, the President Cup winning team. I don't want to say any of that. But what I'm saying is they're making steps in the right direction in this aged, old geriatric team. Yeah, they might be geriatric, but the one thing I'm going to say about them is they've been there before. They've done that before. And a lot of these young guys around the league, they don't know what they're doing. They've never been there before. The Capitals won a Stanley Cup in 2018, and this team has tons of experience, life experience, hockey experience, and that is going to bode well for them. So you can have your young, fancy, fast skating hockey players out there. And the Capitals are kind of just going to be like, yeah, you young guys, you tried to pick fights with us. We're going to sit back and let you play your game, and we're going to go about and play our game. And that's how this Capitals team is going to go. I think that, we're coming up again here. Like I said, on the Christmas break, there is nothing but positivity. If they could pick up a big win against the Lightning, I mean, I don't think you could ask for anything more. I think that I would just be overflowing with enthusiasm. I kind of already am, if you can't tell. But I think that would even be the real cherry on top of all this. But I'm super pumped about what this team did tonight. I'm happy about Ovechkin, number one, of course. I like that Ivan Miroshnichenko, while he didn't find the back of the net, he's coming along. He's coming along. This season, I have a feeling this is going to be his season on this team. The young talent, so much to be happy about. Hendrik Lapierre, Connor McMichael. This team is chugging. And there's a lot to be super psyched about. All right, so coming up here after the break, speaking of players to be super psyched about, Anthony Mantha. Yes, that Anthony Mantha is a man on a mission. How is he getting it done? I'll talk about that coming up. Passion, drive, and patience, what brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance, from superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED lights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, the part will fit your ride every time or your money back, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need and all in prices, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit, only available to U.S. customers. All right, welcome back into this edition of Locked On Capitals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So it was one heck of a game for Anthony Mantha, and it's been one heck of a season for the most part for Anthony Mantha. There was one thing, and if you're an everydayer of the show, you know I talked about this, that if there were a couple things that Spencer Carberry could do other than win a Stanley Cup for the team or lead the team to a Stanley Cup victory, would be to reinvigorate Anthony Mantha. And it does appear as that is the case. And what is the secret sauce for Anthony Mantha's success? It is confidence. It's goal scoring. It's about playing sound hockey. And it's funny, when you do one good thing, the second good thing, it comes that much easier. I think that's the same thing with Alex Ovechkin, like I talked about off the top, is this confidence, this projecting success. And that's what it's all about. It's psychology. Just like when a lot of bad things happen for Alex Ovechkin, he started projecting failure. Like, I'm going to shoot this and it's going to get blocked. It's going to get shot wide. It's not going to happen. But then when he found the back of the net, I would be really surprised to see what Alex Ovechkin we see against the Lightning. It worked for Anthony Mantha. Once he finally got that off his shoulders and started scoring goals, it's come easy. And it's not just scoring goals. He is just brimming with optimism and great playmaking, that I'm like, people are talking about Anthony Mantha trading him. Would that even be the right move? Is there a reasonable upgrade to Anthony Mantha that you could get right now? Realistically, I really don't think so, as Anthony Mantha appears to be a bit of lightning in a bottle, and it's most impressive. I'm very happy with what he's done this for, playing a huge role in the top six. Confidence is what is fueling his success. Mantha tipped an Alex Ovechkin shot in his first goal. Again, that was kind of just pumping his tires a little bit. Yeah, like, yes, Anthony, we can do this. We can rock it out. His second goal was from Protas for his ninth. Mantha now has points in 6 of his last 8 games and goals in 3 of his last 6 overall. He's on a trajectory to score 23 goals. That Anthony Mantha, the one that everyone was saying, get him out of here. He is one of the most valuable people, the most valuable players on this team, and defying odds. I don't think that anyone saw this coming. I think a lot of us, myself included, hoped for it. I always said I wish him nothing but the best. But as an odds maker or someone that plays fantasy hockey, you never saw this coming. I did not. But I think that it's Spencer Carberry. I think it's confidence. That is the secret sauce to his success. Another big player as well is Alexi Protas. Wow. I mean, we know that he had a good camp last year, and then was kind of a bumpy ride, the last year with Laviolette. But he is playing such a huge role in this team. Alexi Protas serving up great passes, great playmaker, putting himself in a position to succeed. I don't know if this is just all Spencer Carberry or what it is, but Protas is just an amazing player to witness on a night in, night out basis. Second consecutive game with a point. He leads the team in scoring 5-on-5 with 14 points over 30 games. Alexi Protas, this team's coming together. It's not just the Wilson, the Ovechkin, this is more the secondary and tertiary players on this team that are just knocking it out of the park. And I could be, there's no one other than me could be any happier about this whole situation. I had to answer a lot of questions doing this show about this team. What does it have? It's projected to be one of the worst in the NHL, blah, 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 blah. It's coming together. It's coming together like a great recipe. Like maybe you're baking Christmas cookies this weekend. It's coming together like a good batch of cookies. Just put them in the oven. Don't burn them though. And I think that's where this team is at right now. It took a while. We burnt a couple of them. A couple of them were underdone. A couple of them were crispy and set the smoke alarms off. But the rest of them, this team is going to taste like a beautiful molasses cookie if you're so inclined to liking one of those things. So I think that it is just a good feeling. Alexi Protas, you talk about Anthony Mantha and just the young talent. There's just a lot to be super pumped about on this team as we head into this Christmas time. I wish it was Thanksgiving right now. I'd say what I'm thankful for, but I'll do it anyway because it's Christmas. I'm thankful that this team is coming together in a good way. And again, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I am going to live in this moment right now. And in this moment right now, I am really, really happy with where this team is at. And you as Capitals fans should be really happy as well. Then taking a look at the net minding, Charlie Lindgren, lights out. Is anyone surprised? I'm not surprised. Saving 35 of 37 shots. That is good for a .947 save percentage. And then guess what? I can't believe this. I'm kind of just beyond myself. The Capitals power play. Yes, the power play, not the penalty kill. It wasn't a typo. Is coming together. The team's second straight game with a PPG and the fourth time in 5 games the man advantage has converted. Wow. When things come together, they really come together. Carlson 3 assists, Wilson 5 shots on goal. There is a whole lot to love about this Capitals team right now. And that's just right now. Wait till after this freeze. Wait till we see Ethan Bear. Max Pacioretty's just around the corner. This team is only going to go up from here. So we know they're pretty good right now. Pretty good. But after the break, they're even going to be better. That's what's got me excited. Pacioretty, 6 times in his career, 30 goals. Ethan Bear, shutdown defenseman, can get involved in the rush, score goals. There's a lot to love. Capitals fans, if you can't tell, I'm pumped. I hope you're pumped as well as this team is firing on all cylinders. Listen, I want to thank you for joining me on this edition of Locked On Capitals, your only daily year-round podcast covering the Washington Capitals. And I want to thank all of you that listen on the audio side and watch this on YouTube. You are what makes this show successful, and I have you guys to thank. This is the last show before Christmas, as I will talk to all of you. It will be after Christmas, so I hope that all of you that are listening to this or watching this have the Christmas that you want. I hope you're around friends and family or whoever you want to be around. Maybe you want to be alone. I don't know. But I want this to be the Christmas that you want. And as Capitals fans, it's a good feeling. That's part of my Christmas present right now is this team is humming right along, and I get a chance to host this show for a really great audience. That is my present. Listen, once again, I want to thank you for joining me on this edition of Locked On Capitals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Dan Holme, and I'll talk to you again next time.